This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening everyone and welcome to Southern Cross News. A 20-year-old motorbike rider is in a critical condition in intensive care after a serious crash at Glenorchy last night. Police are investigating the cause of the collision between the motorbike and a car and are calling for witnesses to come forward.
This is the confronting scene that remained after last night's serious crash between a motorbike and a car. Parts of both vehicles scattered throughout the busy intersection on Tolosa Street in Glenorchy.
Both of these vehicles have collided whilst on Tolosa Street. As a result of the impact, the rider has been ejected from his motorcycle and has sustained some significant head injuries as a result.
The 20-year-old motorbike rider is now in intensive care in the Royal Hobart Hospital and is in a critical condition.
It's obviously very sad for the family of this young man involved. He's only 20. Motorcyclists are vulnerable.
The driver and passenger in the car were left shaken but physically unharmed. Police haven't determined the cause of the crash but are considering if visibility could have contributed.
He had dark clothing on, the motorcycle was dark, the area is reasonably dark as well, and so I will look into whether both vehicles had their lights on or off at the time.
Police are calling for witnesses who saw the motorcyclist in this vicinity in the lead up to the crash.
I'm led to believe that this motorcycle had been seen in the area over a number of hours prior to the crash, so I'd certainly like to speak to witnesses if they haven't already come forward.
Anyone with information is encouraged to contact Crime Stoppers. Ruby Kamain, Southern Cross News.
Police have revealed the extent of evade incidents in Tasmania, with an average of 3 a day where drivers fail to stop for officers. For the start of 2018, more than 280 evade incidents were reported, but authorities say the figures are reducing because of better police coordination and new penalties.
New recruits at the police academy are learning how to clamp vehicles. This is just one of their tools to penalise drivers who evade police.
If they fail to stop, and particularly if they drive dangerously after they have failed to stop, then that's a safety issue for the community, and it's an offence we take very seriously.
New figures show the number of evade incidents is declining but is still high. In the first 3 months of this year, there were 283 evades, which averages out to 3 a day, but it's 42% lower than last year. So far this financial year, there's been more than 900 incidents, which is down 28%. Police say new tougher penalties for evading and better coordination is fighting the problem.
We established a special steering committee to try and address the evade problem and come up with different measures that we could implement to reduce the number of evades.
To bolster Tasmania Police, its numbers are set to increase by 125 officers over 4 years, in addition to replacements for resigning and retiring police.
We'll actually need to recruit about an additional 200 police officers to make up the additional 125 on top of what our normal recruiting process is. So there's quite an extensive recruiting program.
The Police Association raised concerns about staffing of the Launceston Police Station around Easter.
My advice is that the Launceston Station will be strongly supported, is being strongly supported, and is also an early candidate for additional police recruiting.
We're hopeful that we would get some of those recruits heading to the problem areas, but unfortunately it's not just confined to Launceston, and it's not just confined to the first responders or front line.
2 police recruitment drives are scheduled for this year. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Passengers have been left stranded for hours this morning as thick fog covered Launceston Airport. Management says while fog is a common occurrence, today is the first day this year where flights have been grounded.
Thick fog covering much of Tasmania this morning, delaying several flights from Launceston to Melbourne for up to 3 hours. Some even cancelled. Passengers were given little option but to wait it out.
We've been waiting here for about an hour and we're not expected to go for at least another 2 hours.
It's no big deal to us, but probably hurt some people, I'd imagine.
And what's your delay looking like today?
1.5 hours. That's what I say right now, but yeah, might be more, I don't know. We'll find out.
Melbourne obviously significantly affected by the volume of traffic over there. So we're hoping that progressively the Melbourne situation improves and we can get our aircraft regularity back.
Low visibility was declared at 6 o'clock this morning, meaning special procedures were put in place for planes landing and taking off.
They have their what are known as minima, and it's unsafe to land below those, and sometimes they might make an approach and see whether things have cleared and do a go around and land again.
Fog in Tasmania is not uncommon during winter. Airport management says there's little they can do but to warn passengers as early as possible about any expected delays. Flights return to scheduled departure times just after noon. Jessica Moran, Southern Cross News.
A Tasmanian man who killed his neighbour by shooting him in the head at Lotta in 2016 is still yet to be sentenced, almost 5 months after a jury found him guilty of murder. Kerry Alexander Bilston appeared in Launceston's Supreme Court via video link from Risdon Prison this morning. The court heard the matter should be dealt with on the 21st of May. Bilston will remain behind bars until then. Meanwhile, the Mayfield man accused of murdering Tyson Timothy Clark Robertson, whose remains were found in a shallow backyard grave 9 months after he went missing, is still waiting for his matter to be heard. Ian Rosewall appeared briefly this morning. It's still unclear if his case will progress to trial. Mr Rosewall will next appear on May 10. A man has appeared in the Hobart Magistrates Court charged over a house fire. 45-year-old Adrian James Jeffries is facing 1 count of arson in relation to a blaze at Eldersley in early February. The fire caused an estimated $200,000 damage to the property. Mr Jeffries didn't enter a plea and the case has been adjourned until June. Uniting Agewell says it's implemented enhanced vaccination and infection control programs after a deadly outbreak of flu at its Latrobe aged care facility last year. 31 residents were impacted last August and 6 of them died. Uniting Agewell says it's providing free vaccinations for staff and expects them to receive one unless they have a medical reason. And in the lead up to the flu season, visitors are urged to stay away from aged care facilities if they are feeling unwell to prevent spreading illness. For the first time, the value of the Tasmanian wine industry has been revealed. A report released today shows the sector contributes a staggering $115 million to the state's economy.
Tasmania is home to some of the nation's best wines. Boasting mild summers and long autumn days, our growing conditions are ripe for the picking. A new report released today shows the sector is sitting around 7th on the list of top 10 industries for the state.
So it's given us a full picture of the value to the state, and it's very significant.
Because the industry spans across agriculture, manufacturing and tourism sectors, prior to today it's been hard to find a figure that accurately reflects what the industry gives back to the economy.
The Tasmanian wine sector conservatively contributes over $115 million per annum to the state's economy.
And with more tourists pouring in year on year, the sector is bubbling. All indications show the Tasmanian wine industry is only going to grow from here as more local wineries look to expand by opening up cellar doors and hosting events and functions, like Sharman's Wines in the state's north.
Particularly over summer when it's beautiful out here, we've been getting live music out here, some local food vendors, and yeah, the crowds have just been getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
The winery just outside of Launceston says this period of year is typically quiet, but not this year.
There's definitely more tourists around, but yeah, definitely locals, particularly because we're so close to town as well. It's a 10-minute drive from the CBD, so we're definitely seeing a lot more locals come out.
A positive sign of things to come. Jessica Moran, Southern Cross News.
Tourism growth in Tasmania has been described as head-snapping, with strong business sentiment a highlight of the latest Deloitte Access Economic Report. Housing construction is set to boom, with approvals jumping 22%. Tourist numbers have grown 17% over the year, with visitors also spending more. The report also confirms more permanent and part-time jobs have been created. Access also noted that the state is in the fairly unusual situation of gaining more people from the mainland than it loses. The Catholic Archdiocese of Hobart is making provisions for its obligations under a redress scheme for victims of child sexual abuse. The Anglican Church yesterday announced it will sell almost half of its properties in Tasmania to help fund $8 million to redress survivors. Catholic Church leaders say they support the redress scheme but are reluctant to sell their churches because they are of spiritual importance.
But it's to be applauded, and naturally we all encourage the Anglican community to carefully work through these issues so that worshippers can continue to congregate in their places of worship around our cities and country towns.
The state government is still to sign up to the Commonwealth Redress Scheme. And the state's aspiring basketball stars are spending their school holidays learning from their role models. The Launceston Tornadoes hosting a junior clinic today for around 60 girls.
These young girls could be the state's future basketball stars.
I want to play in the Olympics for Australia.
The juniors setting their sights high, perfecting their skills and getting the ball rolling on a professional career.
I want to play in the Tornadoes when I grow up.
Today is all about just getting better. We got the girls in here. We're learning shooting, passing, dribbling, just the basics of basketball.
The Tornadoes coaches and the players are really talented, so we learn a lot from them and how we dribble and how we keep the ball inside our hands.
But it's not all hands-on. The Torns also teaching their junior wannabes what food is best pre- and post-match and how they should recover.
Do you think on Sunday we should stretch as well?
The club hopes to host junior clinics every school holidays. The aim of today to inspire the next generation of Siebel players.
That's the goal. Even with my Torns right now, we learn the basics. At any level, you can always learn the basics, professional, amateur, or whatnot. But definitely the girls, this is what I teach them when they're young, and then hopefully they can carry it on and be a tornado one day.
And the hard work doesn't stop now.
What do you need to do to get into the Olympics and the Tornadoes?
Probably just practice, train, and dribbling and shooting better.
Monica Dadson at Southern Cross News.
A $3.5 million tyre recycling plant will be constructed at Mowbray after the Launceston City Council approved its planning application unanimously today. Phoenix Rubber Products will shred tyres it stores at its site into crumb and powder material to make items like rubber matting, road bases and play equipment. The company's owner, Tim Chugg, who also stores tyres at Longford, hopes the plant will be operating by Christmas. Concerns were raised about the risk of fire, like the one seen at Longford in 2012. But the council says that is a matter for the Environmental Protection Authority. Mental health charity Speak Up, Stay Chatty has teamed up with Banjo's Bakery to launch Coffee Month, raising money and awareness about suicide prevention. The initiative encourages people to take the time to talk over a coffee with family or friends. 50 cents from every large coffee will go to the charity, the campaign raising over $29,000 last year.
But it's a really important month for people to, hone in on the fact that conversations matter, and taking a friend or a family member or someone that we care about in for a coffee and just to sit down and listen to what problems or issues they might be dealing with is really important.
Coffee Month will run throughout May. Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has ended Monday's session higher, ignoring soft Wall Street leads, with investors finding value in the big mining companies and the nation's largest lenders. The ASX 200 index rose 17.2 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 76.73 US cents and 106.46 New Zealand cents.
TSL club bosses are feeling more positive about the future after a meeting with AFL Tasmania this afternoon. And while many uncertainties remain regarding the competition's future, the clubs have been assured of more clarity from the AFL from here on out. After feeling like they were being kept in the dark, things now seem a bit brighter for the state's 7 TSL clubs.
We've walked away today feeling much more positive and confident that our views and thoughts of our football communities will be heard.
Clubs today requesting more involvement in the AFL Steering Committee's decisions about what a future model for Tasmanian football may look like, following the growing speculation the TSL could be scrapped from next year.
Hopefully in the next few weeks we'll get an opportunity to talk to some of the steering committee, and they can put faces to the clubs that this whole thing will affect.
AFL Tas CEO Tricia Squires promising the 7 clubs a heads up about any major moves being considered before the final announcement deadline of June 30.
Thane Brady from North Launceston certainly had a strong view about that, and sort of asked if we could have a discussion paper well beforehand, and they've certainly agreed to do that.
With Squires declining an interview today, members from the steering committee are expected to visit the state next week, when clubs will get a stronger indication if their voices are truly being heard or if it's just a case of AFL lip service.
We just want information, I think. You know, that's the most important thing for us, and we want to feel consulted. We want people to talk to us.
After leading North Launceston to premiership glory last year, Tom Couch will return to play for the side in this Saturday's match against North Hobart, with the club confirming the news today. The son of late Brownlow medalist Paul Couch was instrumental in the side's 2017 success, and the Bombers say he could play up to 5 matches for them this season, with the possibility of returning for finals. Meantime, Lauderdale midfielder Phil Bell-Chambers says his side is back on track after notching up its first win of the TSL season. Bell-Chambers stepped up in the absence of several key players, and we may have also seen the rise of one of the competition's future stars. Not many were tipping the undermanned Bombers to topple the Tigers, but the side proved their worth in the second half, running home the 27-point winners. Bell-Chambers played a crucial role out of the middle, filling the on-field leadership void left by injured skipper Bryce Walsh.
With the personnel we've got out at the moment, it's going to take a lot more work from the midfield especially. I think Nat Franklin as well. He's stepping up a lot as a leader.
With the side's 3 Northern Territory imports starting to find their feet in the competition, Tim Mosquito electrified in the forward line, booting 4 majors for the match. And Bell-Chambers says it's just a taste of what's to come.
Definitely. He's a very exciting bloke. I was talking to him on Saturday night. He said he's never really played forward in his life. Always been a half-backer, and now he's just kicking bags.
The Bombers have the bye this weekend before taking on cellar dwellers North Hobart, with the on-baller confident the Bombers can recreate a similar turnaround to last year when the side won their way through to the grand final following a horror start to the season.
Only a couple more weeks and then we get all our Mariners back, and Bryce isn't too far away, or a little bit, and then hopefully Thor comes back as well.
Meantime, one of the game's unsung heroes has been recognised for decades of service to the Old Scholars competition, with administrator Bill Trethuey to be inducted into the state's Football Hall of Fame.
Give a game to people that aren't that good at playing footy, and so they can find a level where they can still compete and enjoy and bring their families along, and they end up being the administrators and coaches of the future too.
Late grade Hobart Football Club Premiership ruckman Dennis Powell will also be inducted after playing 272 games and leading the club to success in the late 1950s to mid-60s. The Hall of Fame Gala dinner is on June 23. And the votes are in for the Player of the Year in the TSL after round 4, with Lauderdale's Hayden Smith judged best on in his side's upset win over the Tigers. Cameron Duffy did enough to earn the 3 votes in Glenorchy's demolition of North Hobart at KG5, while Jordan Cousins played a crucial role for North Launceston as the Bombers accounted for Clarence. To the leaderboard, and Glenorchy's Daniel Joseph and Launceston's Brodie Palfreman remain on top with 5 votes apiece, with Brady Jones 1 vote back. Finally in sport, Tasmanian Formula 1 hopeful Alex Peroni has been caught up in a dramatic start during race 2 of the Formula Renault Cup Euro Cup at Monza, with Peroni spinning out in the opening seconds.
There's a big hit there in the background. Car going round and round. Oh, and gets collected as well. It could be Peroni. I think that's been collected by 2, 3 other cars involved in that incident.
All drivers managed to escape uninjured, and thankfully for Peroni, he has 8 more events throughout the year to recover the series points.
Good evening. Hobart 21 today, Launceston and Burnie 18, Devonport recorded 16 degrees, while 22 was the high at Campania after Lyawini dropped to -3 to be the coldest. A fine day across the state, apart from the persistent early fog upsetting quite a few air travellers this morning. Ouse, Smithton, Friendly Beaches and King Island 19, Flinders Island 18, Lowhead and Strawn 17 degrees and Lyawini 16. Most of the fog through the Tamar Valley and the Midlands, low-level clouds sat over southwestern parts of the state, clear though for the rest of Tasmania. A high dominates most of the southeast of Australia, some low cloud and fog over Victoria. Onshore winds brought cloud to the southeast of Queensland, a frontal band of cloud through Western Australia and over the Southern Ocean. So tomorrow the front does approach Tasmania, a ridge builds behind that system over southern Western Australia, a trough extends over South Australia with another near the east coast of the nation. Northeasterly winds at 15 to 25 knots, they'll shift northerly during the morning and then northwesterly in the afternoon, swells at 2 metres. Strong wind warning for waters between Southeast Cape and Low Rocky Point. Tuesday for Hobart, a possible shower and 22, 18 the top for Adventure Bay. A shower developing as well for Tarraleah, 19 the maximum. Launceston, morning fog, 20, 19 for Devonport. Bridport, a cloudy day and 19 degrees. Burnie tomorrow, a cloudy day but 19 the top, 21. Showers developing for Strawn and Marrawar, a shower or 2 and 18 degrees. St Helens tomorrow, partly cloudy but fine, 21. 21 also for Swansea, Whitemark 23 degrees, warm for this time of year. Wednesday, showers though over the west and far south, maybe a late shower over the north and northeast. Showers to start off Thursday, contracting to the west and far south during the afternoon. And on Friday, showers again over the west and far south, mostly sunny though over the north and east. Partly cloudy for Perth and Melbourne tomorrow, a possible shower over Adelaide. A foggy start for Canberra, 5 overnight, 27 tomorrow. Ahead of a sunny 27 that is, sunny as well for Sydney, Broome, Alice Springs and Darwin. A little bit of cloud around Hobart at the moment, 14, 11 degrees right now in Launceston and 10 degrees and mostly fine in Devonport. That's it for tonight, Joe, but I'm looking forward to your Royal Baby Bulletin tomorrow night. I'm beside myself with anticipation.
Just a grumpy old man. That's what you'll be. Lovely to have some exciting news. I'm sure everyone at home feels the same way.